You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Conan. Welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on private beach properties in a moment. But tonight we are just 2 hours before the announcement that could tip the scales of the highest court in the land. The president will reveal his pick to replace retiring Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. ABC's Janae Norman joins us live from Washington with more.
This will be President Trump's second Supreme Court appointment and a crucial one that could replace Justice Anthony Kennedy's swing vote with a much more conservative opinion. President Trump producing prime-time television, the much-anticipated announcement of who he'll pick to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy. In true reality TV fashion, teasing ahead on Twitter, writing, "I have long heard that the most important decision a U.S. president can make is the selection of a Supreme Court justice. Will be announced tonight at 9:00 p.m.
We're very close to making a decision."
His short list whittled down from a list of 25 potential picks, believed to be Raymond Kethledge, Thomas Hardiman, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh.
These individuals, of course, who are in the pool of prospective nominees have come from different academic and professional backgrounds. But I have no doubt the selection will be a good one.
President Trump previously pledging to supporters to appoint pro-life judges. His next nominee could be a swing vote to overturn cases like Roe v. Wade that legalized abortion.
Justice Anthony Kennedy was the fifth vote to uphold Roe versus Wade. And if he's replaced by a significantly more conservative justice, we may see the end of constitutional protections for abortion in this country.
Senate Republicans with a one-seat majority holding the power to approve any nominee the president picks. Democrats wanting the vote held off until after midterm elections when they're hoping to regain control.
These justices that have made the final cut are extreme on women's reproductive rights, they're extreme on voting rights, but they are also very extreme on gun rights.
And we've learned at least 3 red state Democrats were invited to the White House for the president's announcement tonight. Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, Joe Donnelly of Indiana, and Joe Manchin of West Virginia. All are up for re-election in November. All face mounting pressure from Democrats to vote against the president's pick, and all declined tonight's invitation. Reporting live from the Supreme Court, Janae Norman, ABC News. Back to you.
Tomorrow night on ABC7 at 7, we'll discuss the president's choice for the Supreme Court justice at the Trapezoid. And just a reminder, you can watch President Trump's primetime televised address right here on ABC7 starting at 9 o'clock tonight. Starbucks is announcing it's eliminating all plastic straws from its store over the next 2 years. Some residents here on the Suncoast are already one step ahead of them. A local group called Rethinking Plastics already has dozens of restaurants signed on to its Skip the Straw campaign, which means that they're all eliminated plastic straws. Now the group is taking things a step further and urging businesses to get rid of what they call the 5 bad plastics: plastic bags, silverware, cups and straws, bottles, and go-to containers. Spearfish Grill is one of at least 30 restaurants on the Suncoast eliminating plastics.
Our plates, our knives, forks, all of our silverware and our straws and everything are biodegradable. Even our cups are made from palm resin.
And if you want home to help, you can still pack a small to-go bag for your own reusable and biodegradable products. The city of Venice is one step closer to getting a new hospital. Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System receiving approval today from the state to move ahead with its new hospital in Venice. The Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration issued a final order allowing SMH to open a new facility on Laurel Road. It will take about 3 years to build the new hospital, which will be on a 65-acre campus. A Disney World employee died today in an industrial area next to the Pop Century Resort in Florida. Details surrounding how 33-year-old Juan Ojeda died are not known. Police received a 911 call around 9:15 this morning, and fire officials declared him dead at the scene. Walt Disney Resorts calling the death accidental. According to the Orlando Sentinel, crews are building a gondola stop at the Pop Century Resort for a new aerial transportation system. Officials say the death is not related to the construction. Even as the cost of gas in Florida declined by a half-cent over the past week, prices at the pump are at the highest in 4 years, according to AAA. As summer reaches its midpoint, gas prices averaging $2.72 per gallon in Florida, up 50 cents from last summer. According to AAA, a record number of people traveling have increased fuel demand by 2% from last year. At the same time, global fuel supplies have been reduced.
The average vehicle is going to take about $6 a tank full now to fill up, more than it did about a year ago. But the economy is good, consumer confidence is strong right now, so people are continuing to travel.
AAA warns prices could jump if refineries along the Gulf Coast are again threatened by a hurricane this summer. A viewer captured this video of a hammerhead shark chasing a tarpon yesterday. Alexis DeJesus says she was leaving Jewfish Island when she spotted the hammerhead chasing the fish, and she wasn't the only one to see a hammerhead shark. Mike and Heather Amato of Lakewood Ranch were on their jet skis about 200 yards from the shore near Sandbar Restaurant on Anna Maria Island when they spotted a hammerhead as well. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Those tarpon hang out right there too with the big sharks that you saw right there. Those hammerhead love them. And I was inside a little bit further near Palmasola Bay, and we saw manatees, a little gentler as far as those go. We have a couple of tropical systems we're monitoring right now. If this becomes Cindy, and we think it will, there'll be 3 named storms at this point. That typically doesn't happen until about the second week in August. So they just came out with their revised forecast for this season too, just about a week and a half ago, saying we're going to have below average season. Well, it's nothing below average right now, but El Nino is expected to kick in into August and September, which usually limits the storms. But again, the good thing is Beryl a week into a tropical wave. Bad thing is it's producing heavy amounts of rainfall, dangerous mudslides and flooding problems, flash floods throughout Puerto Rico tonight, spreading off in toward Hispaniola. This is the latest on Chris. It is going to become a hurricane. We do believe that. It's over the Gulf Stream. Conditions are favorable. It's going to eventually get picked up by a trough and carried out into the Atlantic. Again, not a big issue for the United States, causing some rough surf there, though. This system will eventually move close to us. It will get to the Bahamas and then bring a little bit more moisture our way, I think, on Wednesday and Thursday, giving us a better chance for rainfall right now. It has a 50% chance of redeveloping, by the way, right here and turning back into Beryl. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. And you can keep an eye on it, too, by downloading our weather app. Again, that's the First Alert weather app, WWSB ABC7. Make sure you download it. At the meantime, in the same time, I should say, you could also download the news app. We have 2 of them, and stay informed during this tropical season. Alan?
Bob, thank you. Are our public beaches going private? A new state law makes it harder for local governments to stop homeowners from kicking people off their beachfront properties. ABC7's Adam Cellini tells us what we can expect to change at our local beaches.
Siesta Key Beach is a magnet for tourists and trouble for condo owners who pay extra for their own private slice of sand.
Just coming up here, you know, partying, using the bathroom, using the chairs.
They want to try to put maybe a privacy gate up there. There's a whole lot of legal issues going on there.
Now, blocking off the beach has less legal issues thanks to a new state law that started this month. The Possession of Real Property bill signed into law in March allows some beachfront property owners to restrict access to the segment of beach they own down to the mean high water line, which is basically where the dry sand meets the wet sand. Not a major change, according to longtime Siesta Key real estate broker Steve Kavanaugh.
I don't think overall it's going to be a huge change, but I think in specific pockets on Siesta Key there'll be some change.
These pockets could be where the condos end and the private homes begin. Will these owners become emboldened by that new law?
There's the people that are going to try and take over actual public areas where they think they have private beach.
Sand accretion is constantly changing some beachfront property lines, says Kavanaugh, and some owners donate their sand to conservation to avoid heavy property taxes. This won't stop sellers, though, from advertising private beaches where it may not exist.
So just be very cognizant of what you're actually buying.
But the bigger change in the new law is to Florida's customary use rule, which allowed local governments to pass rules and ordinances that force private beach owners to allow public access or use. Now, local governments will have to sue those property owners, which could mean more tax dollars.
The government cannot now come back and say, okay, but you can come onto the land for a certain amount of time or under these circumstances to use the beach.
While several beaches are considered public parks under government control, the state estimates 60% of Florida beaches are privately owned. Manatee County tourism expert Elliot Falcioni doesn't believe the new law will hurt local tourism, especially on Anna Maria Island. Coquina Beach can hold 1,600 cars, Manatee Beach isn't far north, and few beachfront houses are occupied year-round.
Single-family homes are in the short-term rental pool. So even though they're private beaches, our visitors are still going to be able to experience that private beach.
So until that first resident tries to put up a fence, it's hard to tell how the law will affect people's attitudes.
It's going to be a bit of a learning curve for, I think, the county. I think it is for the realtors. I think the current homeowners. Nobody's going to understand this day one.
Before the law passed, condo owners at Gulf Haven on Siesta passed their own rule, wristbands on the beach to show who belongs and who should keep walking.
So people can walk the beach. It's a public beach. You can do whatever you want, but up here is ours.
3 different customary use ordinances were commonly referred to as this law was being discussed, and when it passed, one of those ordinances was abolished. It was up in Walton County, which is located in the Panhandle. Reporting on Siesta Key, Adam Cellini, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Up next, a top local real estate attorney and the top guy at the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce. The Trapezoid is next.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
I'll be right back.
Welcome back. A couple of days ago, two women enjoying a sunny day on the Florida beach in Walton County were told by the sheriff's department to pick up their things and leave. The video is on Facebook. What were they doing? Drinking, disturbing the peace? What? Nothing. They were, however, in violation of a brand new state law that even some police say is downright confusing. While the Florida courts have ruled the owners of beachfront property can't restrict public access to the beach, this new state law changes the process local governments need to go through to ensure public access. Confusing, you think? What impact, if any, will it have, after all, on the beaches here, which are the best beaches anywhere? Joining us for more are Kevin Cooper, the president of the Greater Sarasota Chamber of Commerce, and Andrew Conboy, a real estate attorney at Berlin, Patton, and Ebling. And welcome to you both. And Andrew, we invited you here today because you have written about this and how confusing it is to folks in your line of work and local towns and law enforcement. So where does it stand, at least around here, in terms of the possibility that people could go out to the beach one day and be told to leave?
I think the short answer is we don't fully really know yet. The police department and the sheriff's department are really going to have to develop their own policies on exactly how they treat that situation when a private landowner says, hey, there's somebody on my land, I'd like you to do something about it. So the policies are not really set in place yet, and we don't really know exactly how that's going to go.
Explain, if you can, in layperson's terms, what this law does as opposed to what the law was up until now.
Well, there's two really big changes. The first big change is how the local municipalities establish a private beach for public use. Customarily, they would enact an ordinance saying this is private land, but the public has customarily used this land as public land, so the public can use that land. Now, that just enacting an ordinance is not the process anymore. There needs to be notice of public hearings. The municipalities need to hold public hearings, and they ultimately need to have a circuit court declare that as it's still private land, but the public can use it.
Quick question, Kevin. Do you have concerns, either if you're owner of beach property or concerned about tourism, how this might affect our area?
Yeah, at the outset, of course, from a business perspective, you'd be opposed to any bill that would restrict public access to beachfront property. But I think here in Sarasota County, my concern is minimal. I mean, there's a big difference between possibility and probability. Is there a possibility this could prohibit public access to beachfront? Yeah. Is there a probability? Not really. It's very low here in Sarasota County when you have the erosion control line and public beach access that we already have established here. The likelihood is very minimal.
We shall see. Our conversation on private beach property continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
And speaking of beaches, here's the KC Key webcam showing a pretty nice day out there on the beach and really flat, calm seas as a result of light winds and high pressure. Still got a firm edge on our area. We have the low pressure, obviously, Chris off the Carolina coast, which is bringing us these little convergence bands, if you will, spinning around and pinwheeling around that system. But most of the activity was north of us today, and that's a result of the drier air that has moved in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. On top of that, high pressure and much of a northeast wind around, looks like, Chris, and so that is limiting our shower and thunderstorm activity. The sea breeze never really got going much at all here. You can see the outflow boundaries, several of them. Here's one coming through Hillsborough, entering into Manatee County. It created one lone shower there. These two could cause some isolated showers to pop up here and there, and then we'll have some outflow from here. You can start to see those developing right there, pushing off to the west. As they converge, there's a chance we could see one or two lone showers out there. Not much rain expected. A lot of rain occurring right around the center of Chris right now, which is still over 200 miles southeast, again, southeast of the Carolina coast there. This is going to move off to the northeast in time. Look at all the dry air out ahead of it. You can see this dry air over South Carolina, Georgia, stretching down into Florida. That's another limiting factor for our afternoon and evening thunderstorms. They'll be back tomorrow, though. Futurecast not calling for much this evening, just a slight chance for a passing shower. But tomorrow, I think a little bit better chance to see some showers and storms developing along the sea breeze front, then working their way toward the coast in the late afternoon and evening. And then again, winding down after 10 o'clock or so as they head out into the Gulf of Mexico. That's our forecast for Tuesday. and Wednesday too, with a good chance for some scattered storms in the afternoon. We have a little low pressure which will move across South Florida on Wednesday and Thursday, enhancing those storms. They're really getting some enhancement right now of storms as a result of the residual moisture left over and the disturbed weather now. It's an open wave moving across Puerto Rico, where flooding is going to be a real big concern there into Haiti and the Dominican Republic too over the next 24 hours. Temperatures have cooled, but not much. There's not much rain around to cool things down. Still 92 in Northport, 88 in Bradenton, and the Gulf water temperature now at 88 degrees. Current conditions, the heat index still at 97 degrees out there. We missed those afternoon storms to cool us down. For boaters, winds will be really light out there, less than 2-foot seas, and we'll see basically a smooth to a light chop as the forecast goes. Then scattered showers coming back on Tuesday in the afternoon, and a little bit better on Wednesday and Thursday. Some more moisture will be around, a little bit of a weak disturbance moving through as well over South Florida. By the weekend, though, looks to be pretty good. Just a slight chance for a few scattered late-day storms. Al will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Hello, I'm John Merce. Rugs As Art is celebrating yet another anniversary, and I would personally like to thank each and every one of you for the many years of continuous support. All during the month of July, we're having a grand celebration. We have flooded our showroom with yellow tag specials, meaning more discounts and more savings than ever before, plus free padding. So don't miss this anniversary celebration at Rugs As Art, Sarasota's bigger and better area rug superstore.
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. When my mother passed away, her United of Omaha policy helped cover her funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. When you call the number on your screen, we'll help find the right policy for you. If you're between 45 and 85, you can get coverage up to $25,000 with no medical exam. Call us right now at the number on your screen.
Now I know I'll be taking care of my family, even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha guaranteed whole life insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
Tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
Some of the funniest improv comedians are here on the Suncoast this week. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. We'll work with some of the performers from the Sarasota Improv Festival. Then we'll get a workout from F45 Training, a new fitness program that focuses on a team training atmosphere. Plus, we'll meet local teachers returning from a project in South Africa, and Spice and Tea Exchange joins us in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
The body, it is a work of art and a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. A new approach called immunotherapy works by helping our immune system correctly identify and eradicate many types of cancer cells. Speak with your doctor and visit su2c.org/immunotherapy to learn more. Your body might just be your greatest hope.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Welcome back. We're talking about the new state law that may well block public access to our best beaches. And joining us for more are Kevin Cooper, president of the Greater Sarasota Chamber of Commerce, and Andrew Conboy, a real estate attorney at Berlin, Patton, and Ebling. And Kevin, I would imagine this cuts both ways. It could affect tourism and people coming to our beaches where they may not be welcome in all parts of the beach, but also the real estate market where people may or may not think that they're buying private, beachfront property.
Yeah, I think it depends maybe on how it's advertised, but I think it also goes back to really the Florida Supreme Court's steadfast ruling in customary use. And what we know is that what it has held is that the beaches in the state of Florida are some of the oldest and most readily available public uses in the world. As long as people have roamed the public realm in the state of Florida, they have roamed the public beaches. And what the Florida State Supreme Court has held is that these beaches are public, regardless of whether you have a private property right and there's a line there. It doesn't really matter, and this doesn't change any of that.
But Andrew, we also know what human behavior is, and a lot of people, or at least some people, will take advantage of everything they can and put up those signs that say private beach, which may or may not be the case.
Yeah, that's the danger. We were discussing a little earlier. Danger of the local real estate market. You're going to see people advertising, "Hey, I'm selling this house with a secluded private beach," when that might not necessarily be the case, or they might actually think that that is the case. So it is going to be a big change in the local real estate market. Agents are going to want to look out for that they're not falsely advertising what their property is, one, and two, that their customers are not thinking that they're buying something that they're really not.
Do you expect that this could result in a lot of new litigation?
I would think that it probably would. One, from the municipality trying to establish private lands or private beaches as this customary public use land again. And I mentioned that the process that they're going to need to go through. And two, as I just mentioned, there's probably going to be some new litigation establishing beach rights for people who bought a property thinking they were getting one thing, and suddenly they're building a fence, and suddenly they figure out that they might not own that part of the fence.
We are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on private beach property will continue after a quick break. Stay with us.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
When you are home alone, an emergency can become a tragedy. However, with any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
at home,
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
and on the go.
Help! I've fallen in the park and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-0221. That's 1-800-518-0221. Call now, 1-800-518-0221. For a free brochure, call 1-800-518-0221.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. We are talking about a brand new state law that could give the owners of beachfront property the legal right to boot you right off the beach. And joining us for more are Kevin Cooper, president of the Greater Sarasota Chamber of Commerce, and Andrew Conaboy, a real estate attorney at Berlin, Patton, and Ebeling. And Andrew, you've researched this. How did this whole law get started? I mean, what was the motivation behind it?
It's really a law to protect personal property rights. It really started in Walton Beach, as you discussed. That's where a lot of this got started, and it's spread throughout the state. It passed by wide margins in the House and Senate, and it has not been received by great fanfare since it passed the House and Senate.
Well, here's the interesting part, because I looked up the sponsors of this new law. The Senate sponsor is a Naples Republican, and the House sponsor is I believe, a Broward County Democrat. But the impetus was north in the Panhandle here, and you've already seen, if you read some of the stories about this, incidents popping up, whether it's in the Panhandle or Pinellas County or the Miami area. Has this always been a problem, or is this new stuff?
I think the stuff that you were just referring is new stuff, and I think it's going to take a little while for this all to shake out, how the different municipalities and counties deal with enforcing this new law. I think that's all going to be new, and we're all going to have to work this out. That's why one of my tips is for eager homeowners who want to go out and build something on their private beachfront property, who might feel emboldened. You might want to wait on that to see how this all shakes out. You might find yourself in a battle that you didn't originally want to get into.
Kevin?
Yeah, I think there's two things to what you're speaking to, and that it brought on in the bipartisan nature and the overwhelming popularity in the Senate and the House. And even here in Sarasota County, the 5 House representatives here, 2 Democrat, 3 Republican, all 5 voted for it. Senator Greg Stubbe voted for it. And so I think it's a general, going back to the point, it's a protection of private property rights. All it did was create a new process. It didn't change the law. It didn't really do anything about customary use doctrine. All it said was, hey, if a local government wants to establish customary use on private property, beachfront property, it now has a process where it has to notify the property owner, which it didn't have to do before, and it has to establish that in court, which it didn't have to do before. It could just unilaterally do it. So it just establishes a new process, which is a little more onerous on the private government or on the public government in any municipality or county across the state, but it doesn't embolden anything that would take away private or public access to the beachfront property.
Yeah, 2 other points I wanted to make to piggyback off that. It also establishes a new process for private homeowners to streamline the ejectment process, so they don't have to go through the long, drawn-out lawsuit. They don't have to provide notice to trespassers or people who they think are trespassers. It's a summary procedure. It's much more streamlined. And my second point is, I want the communities to know that we're not talking about the entire beach. From the high mean water line, that's really, in layman's terms, if the water looks wet, from there on down, the state owns that, or the public owns it, but the state owns it, holds it in a trust. So that's never going to go away. It's constitutionally protected.
But let me put this both to you. A lot of people who live around here are from other parts of the country. They're from the Northeast. I remember I used to have relatives who lived in New Jersey, and in order to go to the local beach, you had to have a medallion showing that you were a resident there. One of the great things about coming down to Florida is you could go to any beach you want. They hear this, and some people might not be that happy about it, Kevin.
Well, I think they may not, but there's a lot of things that don't change. And when you look at Siesta Public Beach here in Sarasota County, that is owned by the county. When you look at Lido Beach, that is owned by the local government. So there's plenty of beachfront property here that is simply owned by the public in perpetuity, that is protected. And then you go up to places like Longboat Key where they have the erosion control line. Any properties that have been beneficiaries of erosion of benefit in terms of renourishing the sand project, that creates more public land on there. So we have so much beachfront property here in Sarasota County that simply is not affected. Now, is the nuance of that easily communicable to the United States of America, the average tourist public? Probably not, but really it doesn't change any for the experience. In my opinion, for Sarasota County at least, the marketability of Siesta Key, the marketability of Lido Beach, the marketability of Venice is so high that I don't think you're going to see a big change.
Right, but I would imagine that what people would be concerned about is this video that is kind of circulating on the internet now of what happened up in Walton County, where you have sheriff deputies going up to women on the beach telling them to get out.
Yeah, and that's not very good for the public image of Walton. And I think that this is kind of ground zero for a lot of this discussion. It goes back to a United States Supreme Court decision back in 2010. It goes back to one of the more recent federal court decisions, I think last year in 2017. So Walton is kind of ground zero for a lot of this stuff. I don't see a lot of that coming down to Sarasota County. I don't see Sheriff Tom Knight or Bernadette DePino, chief of the City of Sarasota Police, kind of directing their police in that way. But Walton is kind of an interesting kind of ground zero for a lot of this discussion, where I think this bill kind of emanated from.
Andrew, what would you tell people in terms of advice if they are in a situation where they're on the beach, they're minding their own business, they just wanted to walk out to someplace that seems to be a little bit less busy, and somebody tells them to get out and threatens to call the police?
I think this is a pretty simple piece of advice. Move down the beach a little bit to where the water looks a little more wet, a little closer to the water, and then they really have no argument because it cannot be privately owned, and that's something I think the public should take away from this conversation. From the mean high water mark where it looks wet, that's always going to be public. It can never be privately owned. So if you're being asked to move, you should probably just move a little closer down the water and avoid any sort of confrontation as much as you possibly can.
And I think in a general instance, many people don't need to be concerned. I think, unfortunately, what we know from a lot of the stuff that has arisen in Walton is that these come from bad actors. So it's people that are being loud, they're breaking noise ordinance, they are drinking to excess, they are actually encroaching on people's interior property behind maybe a fence. This is coming from a reasonable private property owner's concern about people that are acting in a way that is really not compatible with residential use. If this isn't about someone jogging by a property or having a coffee enjoying the sunset and really just being quiet and compatible. This is about people who have gone beyond normal social decorum and caused issues for property owners.
But it's not just a situation of, okay, it seems like Walton is being is some kind of strange place going up there, but you know we have stories that point out the same thing happening just up the road from here in Pinellas County, Clearwater Beach, and down in South Florida in Broward County. So I mean, it is happening from place to place.
Well, I think anywhere where you have a private property owner who is really steadfast towards private property rights, when you look at the plat, you are going to see that that person owns part of the dry sand above the mean high water line. They purchased that land, they pay property taxes on that land, and that's where I think the intent of this bill that passed is kind of sound, that says, hey, you do have private property rights to a degree, and now we're going to institute a process whereby if local governments wish to establish the fact that there is customary use on that private property, that you will be notified and that there will be a judicial consent to what is happening there, rather than the unilateral control that local governments used to hold.
All right, we have to take a quick break and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment, so stay with us.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money, so there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed it, man. They helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-874-8185. 1-800-874-8185.
The ABC7 First Alert weather app just got even better. It's easy to use once you download it. First, tell the app to follow you, so you get alerts pinpointed to exactly where you are. Then customize your settings with all the places you go, from the beach to grandmother's house. Get accurate alerts for everyone you care about. You can even pick which weather alerts and categories you want and what they sound like. More ways to customize and more ways to keep your family safe. Download the ABC7 First Alert weather app today.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. So, Andrew, what is your biggest concern in terms of, as this law gets rolled out, and both sides, whether you're a homeowner or you're a visitor, you may not even be aware of it?
Well, two things. One, I come from a real estate standpoint, my advice would be, do not go out and purchase a home thinking that, oh, it's on the beach, it must have private beach access. That might not be the point. It might not be the case. Not every beachfront property necessarily has beach property right on the beach. And two, the biggest point I want to get across is it's in the Constitution that the beach from the high water mark on down, basically anything that the tide touches, it's never going to change, it's never going to be private. So there's nothing to worry about there, and I want the tourists to know that they can always access our beaches.
Do you expect that we're going to see cases where property owners are going to try to take advantage?
I have no doubt about that we're going to see some of those stories that you were mentioning from other places in the state. It's just going to take some time to figure out exactly what you can and can't do, and we'll probably see some of those stories.
And Kevin, I know people are going to come here no matter what, but are you concerned that you're going to have people visiting our area and getting hassled on the beach where they're just trying to chill out?
I think two things. One, I think they probably already have been in pockets, and I think they will continue to be perhaps in pockets. I don't think there's going to be a real mass issue along with people contending with public use on the beachfront property. Again, unless it crosses into the realm that crosses social norms, where it's just, hey, these people are loud, they're drunken, they're leaving trash, they're doing things that are really unacceptable. Most people that have beachfront property are pretty welcome and acceptable to people accessing that. And again, nothing creates a distortion to the Florida State Supreme Court. This will hold true. We will long since, from now and forever forward, have access to public beaches.
And we'll have to leave it there. Thank you. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of viewers had to say about Friday's show on the Week in Washington. Thursday evening, President Trump was speaking at a rally in Montana and took some shots at Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, as well as the Me Too movement. Trump has previously called the Massachusetts Senator Pocahontas, and now he is wanting her to prove her Native American heritage, stating that he would approach her carefully since we are in the Me Too era, and have her take a DNA test, and if the test comes back proving her Native American heritage, he will donate $1 million to a charity of her choosing. We went to Facebook for your thoughts. And Edwin says, no big deal. News trying to make a big deal. I thought everything he said in Montana was true and funny. Ian says, why does he need to hold rallies? Is it an ego boost? How much does it cost taxpayers? Shouldn't he be working? And Brenda says he makes fun of someone's heritage, which she has explained a gazillion times, and he belittles the Me Too movement, yet the Trumpers are just fine with it. Amazing the sick things people are okay with now. There is no hope. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Kevin Cooper is the president of the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce, and Andrew Conaboy is a real estate attorney at Berlin, Patton, Ebling. When we return, rescue efforts continuing for the kids trapped in a cave in Thailand. But right now, let's get the final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, I can tell you this, that we are looking at the Lakewood Ranch webcam right now, and it is showing nice conditions out there. You can see, again, just some clouds occasionally pushing on through. We do have a couple of boundaries working their way through right now, outflow boundaries that can kick off a brief shower. But generally sunny skies today. Temperatures warming to near record highs. We had a 93-degree reading today. The record high is 95. Well, the radar picture sweep showing some storms near Lake Okeechobee and a few showers to the north of us, but really this should be lit up during a normal summer evening, and it's not happening, and that's a result of some drier air that has filtered into the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. Again, there's that one lone shower from an outflow boundary that was created from a storm in southeast Hillsborough just about an hour ago. You can see that boundary pushing southward right there, and just enough energy to kick off that isolated shower. I think we'll see more down the road here, just isolated that is, with these boundaries too kind of coming together. You can see that shower and thunderstorm activity right there as those two outflow boundaries kind of met and crisscrossed right there over portions of Highlands County. Overall picture, though, showing pretty dry conditions considering we have a tropical storm, soon to be hurricane, located just off the Carolina coast. Dry throughout North Carolina, South Carolina, even into Georgia now, as some dry air has moved in across most of the southeast. But right around the center, there's still plenty of moisture for this thing to get going, and we think it will as an eye is forming now, and that dry air is still kind of sticking around here through this evening. So just an isolated shower, not out of the question. Other than that, partly cloudy to mostly fair skies overnight, and will stay warm because of the rain-cooled air isn't around. We didn't have much rain to cool that air, and so overnight lows will be a little bit on the warm side, especially as we move on through this evening. Temperatures aren't going to drop all that much. This is the forecast for Tuesday afternoon and evening. Showers and storms will be back a little bit more so tomorrow due to increased moisture availability for us. And then Wednesday, expect more of the same with those afternoon and evening thunderstorms developing and pushing off toward the Gulf of Mexico. Well, in the tropics, we're watching the remnants of what was Beryl, and that is causing all sorts of problems and concerns over Puerto Rico once again as a result of still some strong winds. I mean, it's not a sustained tropical storm for us, but they are seeing winds gusting as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour with some of these storms. On top of that, the heavy rainfall causing some concerns with mudslides as well as, again, flash flooding throughout that region, eventually spreading on into the Dominican Republic. Well, for the winds now and this system at 70 miles an hour, we have an update coming up in just about 15 minutes from now, and it may change this over to a hurricane. And it's stationary. It's not moving, and it's not going to move tomorrow, but eventually by late Tuesday, it gets on its horses and heads off to the northeast into the open waters of the Atlantic as a trough of low pressure picks it up and carries it off away from the United States. Well, in the spaghetti models for the remnants of what was Beryl, a lot of them take it off into the Bahamas, and there's a 50% chance of it redeveloping into a tropical depression, if not storm, and following the Gulf Stream and heading off into the open waters of the Atlantic. Those are the storms we like to see, the weak ones that don't have an impact, a direct impact on the United States. But water temperatures in this area, extremely warm, upper 80s to low 90s, and even in the western portion of the Caribbean now into the mid 80s there. So if storms were to get into this area, they'd have a real good chance of intensifying if those winds, upper level winds, relax somewhat. They're pretty strong throughout this region, so there's no concern at this point. But down the road in late July and into August, we have to keep an eye on that area. There's a lot of potential energy there. 84 degrees right now in Orlando, 88 in Miami, and temperatures still hot in Northport at 90 degrees. With that shower near Mayaca City, it's cooled a little bit. 88 degrees in Sarasota. The Gulf water temperature about as warm as it gets. It can get up to 90, but 88 is a fairly typical temperature now through July and August. 88 degrees our current temperature, and the feels like temperature at 97. The high today, 2 degrees shy of the record of 95, set back in 1995. And the forecast tomorrow does call for a chance for a few scattered storms in the afternoon. Heat index approaching 100 degrees by noon tomorrow, so it'll happen pretty quickly. Stay hydrated if you're going to be out there working. As far as boaters go, winds will be very light, 5 to 10 knots, and seas running 2 feet or less, really, with the light chop on the bays and inland waters. The extended forecast calling for a chance for a few scattered storms tomorrow afternoon, a little bit better on Wednesday and Thursday as more moisture comes back into play and a little low pressure area moves across South Florida. And then we'll see less of a chance, but still there on Saturday and Sunday for a few scattered showers or isolated thunderstorms. Alan will be back right after this.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean works on all CPAP machines and popular masks, destroying CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and in just minutes, voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
Checking primetime headlines in Thailand, the second day of that daring rescue mission wrapped for the day with divers rescuing 4 more boys from a flooded cave. That means a total of 8 boys have now been pulled to safety, with 4 of their teammates and soccer coach still waiting to be saved. ABC's Elizabeth Herr with the latest.
2 rescue missions down, and the 8 boys saved so far, safe and sound. That's according to Thai officials, who explained divers completed the rescue in about 9 hours on Monday, some 2 hours faster than the day before. The 8 boys now recovering in the hospital in an isolation unit, away from germs and infections.
Once they get out of the cave, they're going to be rapidly evaluated. They were in that cave for a long time, exposed to human waste and obviously unsanitary conditions. There can be skin breakdown. Infections can be treated.
Authorities so far only confirming the boys are hungry but happy, adding that the staff at the hospital dedicated an entire floor to care for the boys and set up the emergency room with new equipment just to treat infections. The boys' families may eventually be allowed to visit through a glass partition. Officials in the meantime are calling the rescues using the buddy system successful. That system involved each boy making the trek out of the cave accompanied by 2 divers, with the lead rescuer tethered to a boy and carrying his air tank. Those divers are now resting in preparation for the next round, while teams are resupplying those tunnels with oxygen. Officials say it is possible the remaining 4 boys and their soccer coach could all be rescued tomorrow, but ultimately they say that decision is up to the divers, who have so far stuck with the plan of rescuing 4 people per day. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
Tomorrow you can watch a special edition of ABC's 2020 focusing on the rescue mission in Thailand. Tune in tomorrow night at 9 o'clock right here on ABC7. President Trump is in for a nearly week-long visit to Europe. He will kick off his visit in Brussels on July 10th through 12th for the NATO summit, where he will be meeting with leaders from Canada, the UK, France, Germany, and other member nations. Trump will then travel to England on the 12th, where he will meet with Prime Minister Theresa May as well as Queen Elizabeth. After England, Trump will spend 2 days in Scotland for some private time. Finally, Trump will travel to Helsinki on the 15th for a summit with Russia President Vladimir Putin. President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, is daring former Trump fixer Michael Cohen to, quote, tell the truth. But sources close to Cohen say he is sending a message of his own to Giuliani. The truth is not on your client's friend. Speculation has gone on for months about whether Cohen will reveal information damaging the Trump with prosecutors. He has denied knowing anything about collusion with Russia's 2016 election meddling, and Giuliani insists Cohen has no damaging information. Cohen is facing federal investigations that including raids on his home, hotel room, and office in April. Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein pleading not guilty to new sex charges in New York today. It comes after a grand jury last week indicted him on 1 count of committing a criminal sexual act and 2 counts of felony predatory sexual assault. The 66-year-old producer had already pleaded not guilty to 2 separate counts of rape and 1 count of first-degree criminal sexual acts. More than 40 women have accused him of misconduct, including actress Ashley Judd, Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelina Jolie. Weinstein remains free on $1 million cash bail. And that's all the time we have. I'm Alan Cohen. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.